What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you, as always, for being here. I appreciate you stopping by, coming in. The water's fine. Why is the water fine? It's not a pool. Today, we are listening to Gryphon. We are listening to the first track off of their album Red Queen to Gryphon 3, which is Opening Move. This was released, hold on, I didn't have the year up here, 1974. Okay, so quite a while back, we had listened to Gryphon, but you guys had said that this is the album to listen to. This is the one that if I really want to hear them spread their wings, then I should come to the Red Queen. So here we are with the Opening Move. I saw a comment, actually, that described them as Genesis mixed with... Who did they say? Hold on. I think I had the comment. I just clicked the wrong thing. Genesis crossed with Gentle Giant. I don't want to place my expectations up here, but I mean, if you say that, I mean, where do you expect my expectations to be? So let's go ahead and listen to some Gryphon. Like I said, a lot of comments have been asking for this album, so I'd at least like to listen to the first track, and we'll kind of go from there. I hope that you're having a wonderful one. Like I said before, thank you for being here. You didn't have to be, but I appreciate you being here. And I don't know, but Gryphon and a lot of bands that I cover aren't necessarily like the most known bands. I could do bigger bands and more well-recognized and well-known artists and bands, but listen, we're just here to chill. We're just here to have a good time. We're just here to enjoy some music. So hope that you guys enjoy the music. Hope that I enjoy the music. Let's go. I've talked enough. Gryphon, Opening Move. Ba-boom. Okay, what a first listen that was. All right, truthfully, I'm going to have to hear that again. There's no way. Absolutely no way, with barely a listen of this band, listening to Sir Kemp and I don't even remember the name of the other song, but barely any sort of knowledge on the band. Barely knowing anything about them. I need another listen of that. I can't give you, like, an opinion. Because there's a lot going on. Way too much to, like, catch on a first listen. But can I tell you, this sounded like someone in 1980 took an Atari sound system, a Mini Moog, and some other delightful synths, time traveled in the DeLorean back to, let's just say 1500, landed in some king's court, and had at it with the court musicians. That's the best way I can describe the sound to you that I just heard. There's a lot going on. I'll say that, yeah, I could hear a little bit of Genesis in here. This sounded more to me like Gentle Giant mixed with, like, Camel. Except just taking out Latimer's guitar, like, notable guitar, and switching that with Richard Harvey and his keyboard, the piano. That felt to me like the heart and the lead in here. The synths, I thought were really interesting in their sound because this is truly taking, like, a medieval folk sound and mixing it with 1970s progressive technology. I'm just using that as, like, you know, the sound that it lends itself to. The Moog, the synths, and all those kind of sounds. Like, you get a really interesting blend here. Even, like, a very different brand of, like, what Gentle Giant were doing at the time. This is really, really unique. I think that, at least from what I could tell, if you were listening to Gryphon, I think you would know that you were listening to Gryphon. There's a lot of bands in the progressive scene, Jethro Tull, Camel, Gentle Giants, that take ideas from medieval times and music and Renaissance music and those eras and kind of bring them to life with a little bit of electricity, a little bit of buzzy synth, like you heard here, a little bit of amplified guitar, and bring it to life in a different way with similar movements and similar tones. I gotta say, Gryphon puts on a really interesting show. You even got the crumb hole, the crumb horn. I think that's what it was called. The crumb horn. I think that's what it was called. Let me make sure before I say it, because they use that in those other two songs we listened to. Yeah, it is the crumb. Yeah, the crumb horn. Okay. Man, I think I didn't say that right. They even use that in here. It's just a completely different and unique sound that they have. Let me put the volume down. Now, this being called Opening Move, you expect this as an intro to the rest of the album. I guess I should have looked it up, but this was instrumental, and it looks like there is no singing on here. Are there any lyrics or any singing in any of the songs? From what I can tell, this seems that it's going to be a purely instrumental album. Interesting. Yeah, it's all instrumental, which is, honestly, kind of unique and refreshing. If they don't feel like they needed a vocalist, then you don't need it. Now, like I said, this is a first listen. I do wish that it was a little more streamlined in the sense that they have so many unique ideas. This is just a first listen. Maybe upon repeated listens, and probably, I'll kind of understand more of the sense of it all and how it all comes together. But on a first listen, it feels a little bit mishmashy. Like, the transitions between set pieces don't quite feel right. It almost feels like you can see the hands on stage switching around the props and moving things around. You can see the costumes being changed in the dressing room. I want to see just the scenes change, and that's a good transition. That's a good way of changing scenes. Here, at least on a first listen, it doesn't come across particularly subtle in the way that they transition between pieces. Now, that's a minor complaint because each of the pieces and each of the scenes sound great as they move from a little bit of a blazy and sunny synth and that heavy fuzzy movement that comes in into very carefully glided glades of placid lakes and silver lines. Like, it moves really well in that regard, in how the scenes build within itself. I just don't know how I feel about the transitions between movements. But even if we just pull it up here, what gorgeous, beautiful piano this is. This is taking you right back. This is as classical as it can get. And I wonder if Richard Harvey, who's playing the piano, I wonder if he's had to have like classical training or some sort of training. And looking at him, he is a BAFTA award-winning English musician and composer. He has composed for John Williams and the London Symphony Orchestra. He's done quite a lot. Hold on. Career highlights. Composed Fantasia with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra. He's composed for movies and films. The feature film Luther. Oh, I thought it was the show Luther with Idris Elba. That's a good show. I don't think I ever watched like the last season, but I saw the first one, two or three. That was a really good show. But he's worked for a lot of. Performed all featured woodwind solos on the score for The Lion King. Worked with Elvis Costello. I mean, he's in it. He's in it, and it shows like in the music here. I mean, how long ago was this? This was released 1974, and he just kept on going through the years. That is really cool, and I think that it's cool to see where his music particularly would kind of go from there. This is, of course, not to forget the fact of the other members: Graham Taylor on guitar, Brian Gouland on bassoon and crumhorn. Actually, you got two people on crumhorn because Harvey's also doing that. David Oberle, I thought, was also really nice on the drums. He does help a lot in those transitions. And I mean, the music is definitely dramatic. Listen to how fuzzy that is. That is deeply tangible. I like how we crash through the trees here. I can skip around and you get completely different moods. Wonderful guitar playing. That's what I mean. Like, there's a lot of variety on here. They gave you the snack pack. They gave you the what's the board of meats and cheeses. They gave you the board with meats and cheeses. I don't know. I'm forgetting the name of it. And they said, "Here, have at it." I just wish that the transitions felt a little right, but I'll have to give it another listen to really kind of understand it and kind of get into it. And of course, the second song on here, or I guess I should say piece, there's no lyrics. Second Spasm may actually bring everything together. This may have been more of like a prelude to everything coming forth, almost like in symphonic nature with different movements. Who knows? But let me know what you guys thought. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate the recommendation for opening move and for Gryphon. I hope that you enjoyed the music. You can let me know your thoughts below in the comments. You can follow me on Twitter. You can support me on Patreon. You can do so many things, but I hope you come back tomorrow. That didn't rhyme, and I don't know what I'm doing. I'll see you later. Bye.